use it for a while, you'll already know what works, but and how to use it. Like Peppy Relief, my husband and I both have one of those on the side of our bed at night, because if you have something, too late in the evening, if you have spaghetti sauce, if you have something that's going to give you a little heartburn or indigestion, I just literally roll over, roll that right on my stomach, and put the cap back on, go right back to sleep. I mean, I can't believe how fast it helps.
Welcome to the Miracle Plant Podcast, the show that inspires, promotes, and gives you a daily dose of inspiration from the people who have used cannabis to change their lives in extraordinary ways. Here's your host, Justin Benton.
Welcome back to the Miracle Plant Podcast, where we discuss this miracle plant with so many names and how it's helping people in so many extraordinary ways. Well, today we've got a special guest that I met on stage with our good friend of ours, Russell Brunson, when he was doing a fun little launch challenge thing with Dan Kennedy. And Sherri was trying to get more traffic and figure out things for her business. And I said, well, come on over to the Miracle Plant Podcast. We'll get your story out there. And here's Sherri Miller here to tell us a little bit more about her journey into the essential oils. And she sent me an amazing gift basket. We'll have to put a link on the show notes for you to see. And Sherri, welcome to the Miracle Plant Podcast. How are you? And let's hear a little bit about your journey.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. So my essential oil journey kind of started back in 2013, back in the day when every woman my age, at least, was invited to one of those essential oil parties. It was an MLM, and a couple of different companies had that. And I had already had some experience with MLMs, and so I didn't go to those, but I was interested in essential oils. So I went online and bought, some different starter packs and started just really making the house smell good is what I wanted. And it wasn't until a little while later that I learned about the health benefits of essential oils. And I was a teacher for 20 years. And at the time I discovered this, I was teaching high school English. And I don't know what happened. I was just constantly sick in the building that I was in. And I kind of blamed the building, honestly, because it was old and another teacher had this constant, I don't know, like not sick enough to take off work, but just this constant sinus bronchial thing going on. And I started researching and experimented with a diffuser next to my bed. And I put some things in it that would help the immune system, they said, like eucalyptus and frankincense and rosemary. And then I added some lemon and orange. I just started making a big combination. Well, the next thing I know, I wasn't sick anymore. My husband noticed it, my kids noticed it, and the only thing I had changed in my life was that I added these essential oils. So that was kind of the start of it. I was just kind of dipping my toe in the water there. Yeah, have you had anybody in your life try to push some essential oils on you?
Well, my mom probably could speak more to that. I personally had limited exposure. I know there was that, what's that one company, doTERRA?
Yeah.
They definitely came in my atmosphere. But and then welcome to the stage, my mom, Janet Benton Gaylord, head of research and development for the Miracle Plant. How about you, Mom? You ever been to one of those MLM? Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Why don't you come over? We'll have some dinner.
You can't leave without buying something.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of experience more with essential oils. So I'm a holistic healer is what I used to call myself. Now my certifications are integrative nutritionist. And then I'm also a psychologist. So it's been a healing journey for physical illness my whole life. And so I've gone through like every herb I've created and every combination and created most of my own. And then same with essential oils. And I remember the diffuser. So I never joined any of the things or whatever, but I did use a certain brand. And by the way, it's kind of interesting. When I did my last certification for integrative nutrition, all anybody learned in the class was to join doTERRA and make smoothies. And
Yeah.
and I personally would not recommend either of those.
Yeah.
But no, I used the oils. I remember my son, I was in a bad accident, was paralyzed. And so I had a diffuser. And the company I was using had something called like Peace or something that was relaxing that I had going all the time. And so I've used them over the years. quite a bit, and we actually use them in our CBDA products for
Mm,
different too. So, um,
yeah,
yeah.
that's fantastic.
So anyway, no, I'm very familiar with them, and think it's great. Anything to me that's natural and avoid pharmaceuticals and is effective without
Yeah,
side effects is what I'm in favor of.
yeah. I just didn't realize in the beginning how medically, helpful that they could be. I remember having a headache and I decided, to look up online what could help. And my little online thing said to use peppermint. Okay, well, I had some peppermint in my starter pack and it said to, of course, keep it away from your eyes. So I put it on my temples, right back by my hairline, and a little bit on my forehead. And I just couldn't believe that within 60 seconds, my headache was gone. I mean, I couldn't wrap my mind around the fact of how fast that it would work. But so I kind of had a turning point with essential oils eventually. My dad and stepmom moved to Florida, and we started going down there to visit and hang out with them. And then on one of our visits, the day we were supposed to leave, actually, we were getting ready to go to the beach. My dad hollered at us from the bottom of the stairs and said that his doctor had called and he had to go to the hospital right away because he was in kidney failure. And I thought people in kidney failure would be unconscious and on the floor, or dead. I didn't realize that you could be standing there walking out the door to go to the car and be in kidney failure.
Hmm.
So his experience, kind of, that's when I felt like I got slapped in the face with um, the fact that I wanted to change my medicine cabinet around because, uh, well, I want to preface this next part. When I talk about my dad, I want to be completely transparent and say that my dad had a lot of health complications. He had 20 years worth of them, you know. So please don't think that him being in the hospital for kidney failure was only because he took a lot of ibuprofen for the gout that he had. I mean, as painful as it was, gout was the least of his worries. Okay. And we don't even know if ibuprofen caused his kidney failure at all. So I'm not saying that. But I will say this: I had a shoulder impingement years ago, and it's the worst pain I've ever felt, short of giving birth. And the doctor prescribed to me 800 milligrams of ibuprofen 3 times a day, and said that I would start to feel better in 2 weeks. And I was like, uh, that just sounds wrong. I've read the back of that bottle, so I chose physical therapy, which worked perfectly, and I didn't have to do it. But anyway, once my dad was admitted into the hospital for his kidney failure and he got settled into his room, I remember his nurse talking to us casually about how if he had come in there with a heroin overdose, she could save his life. But with too much ibuprofen, there was nothing she could do for him and would just have to run its course. I mean, it just stunned me. I mean, I feel like I'm a halfway educated person, but I never really thought about the fact that you couldn't be helped by medical professionals for an over the counter pain reliever if you had taken too much. you know I'm not saying like you're just chugging them, overdosing them. I mean taking them as directed, but maybe a little extra too much. So it just profoundly changed the way I thought about medicine, our medicine cabinet. And I decided to go get training on essential oils. I went to Dr. Axe's Essential Oil Institute, and they go through every system of the body and what oils help each part of the body. And I just became certified in essential oil use. So
And were you able to help your dad with some of that training? Was there some,
I did,
pain
but
alleviation?
yeah, I was able to help with a few things, but that, like I said, he had 20 years worth of health issues that, I mean, I just was not educated on that. And it was far beyond um, what I could have helped him with. Like I said, he'd been in and out he had something called Wegener's disease, and I wasn't able to help him with all of those things. But after hearing his nurse talk about that, I was able to help him. I was constantly rubbing oils on his feet and stuff to give him comfort, um, and help where I could. I wish I had known about it earlier, you know.
And that's yeah, that's heartbreaking. And people don't know. I mean, I remember I played baseball growing up, and we played double headers and tons of games, and so our arms were so sore. And I wasn't even a pitcher; I was an infielder.
Hmm.
Anyways, and we were kids, dumb kids, 17, 18, 19,
Yeah.
and we just would take however much ibuprofen made the pain go away, and it would be, I don't know,
Right.
1,500 milligrams, 2,000
Sure.
milligrams. We didn't care. We didn't know.
I
Because
know.
again, who would tell us? And also, when you're that age, you're invincible. But anyways, and then we would have somebody that would have like a 800 milligram tablets, and obviously you can just go get Advil or whatever,
Right.
and yeah, but people don't know that it does kill people. It does, end lives prematurely and quality of life, and no one really knows that. I mean, we know that now. I mean, we've done the research and looked at all the over-the-counter prescription pills and aspirin, and some of it's out there. And again, there's this like false sense of security, that we have. As Americans, we grow up as America, and we have these ideals, and we have this, Constitution and founding fathers, and this great idea of what America is, and we have this government that was set up, and we have these agencies that are governmental that are there to protect the people, and all of these ideals are out there. But when you dig a deeper, unfortunately, the system that we currently have does not. I can make many, many cases how our current system, just like the FDA, does not does not have the best interest in Americans' health. You
I,
can look at the poisons that are in our food, poisons that are in our water, the poisons that are in our pills, over the counter and prescribed. It's so sad that it's not common knowledge, and it's so sad that that's the state of affairs that we're in. So I'm sorry to hear that. And it was we had a journey with my son that had a severe autism diagnosis, and medical community basically said grit, cope, and bear it. Get ready for the long haul. And I wasn't going to
right.
accept that because he was a healthy kid beforehand. So at the end of the day, we continued to do our research, and that's what led us, obviously, to finding the miracle plant and juicing it like celery. But so what are some of the things that your oils are helping most people with, or what are some of the things that all this knowledge that you've accumulated, what are you finding people are really coming to you and loving the most about your company?
Well, I'll tell you, I have this blend called Daily Wellness, and I love this thing. The reason why I have a block in our Getting Started kit, the one that you saw, is because I want people to keep them on their desk or wherever they spend the most of their time. Because I use Daily Wellness, I just swirl it on my palms, once a day, and probably, since it's at my desk, probably 5 days a week. And I haven't been sick. I mean, I know I can't make medical claims and everything. Of course, I can't do that, but I haven't been sick since 2013. And that includes like flus, colds, all the things. And even in 2020 and 2021, when all of my students were coming and coughing and hacking at me at my desk, my immune system was able to stay supported. So I absolutely love Daily Wellness. And then, my son loves this Peppy Relief, the peppermint. It's in a roller bottle. With all of them have organic coconut oil in them as a blend, because essential oils are so light that they would literally just evaporate. So you need to have a carrier oil to carry it into your skin. So that's why all of our blends have the organic coconut oil. So this Peppy Relief that my son would always carry in his bag, he would use it on his calves because he'd have 2-a-day practices. He would have JROTC in the morning, or he would have cross country in the morning and run like 5 miles before school. And then after school, he had JROTC. And he just rubbed that on there. And, it's better than those cold hot creams, that you can get. So he was happy with that. I've had this Happy Skin blend that I put in your packet is lavender and tea tree oil with the coconut oil. And my stepdaughter said that this is the best stuff she's ever used for tattoo relief when she gets a new tattoo, because her skin doesn't raise up. And I had another friend who said it helped get rid of a scar. So those things in particular, of course, the lavender, the live and lavish. I had a student come up with that name. You're living lavish. uh, but that has helped so many people with cuts and scrapes and any kind of burns or bites. It just relieves the skin. So when you think lavender, think skin especially. But it also promotes sleep, helps you focus, it calms the mind. So those are fantastic. And then, of course, I put in Thievin. There's a blend called Thieves. And, the story of thieves, have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
I have when I got into your so just a one quick tip. So I didn't see that the little story or the little paper inside
Uh-huh.
of the thing. So maybe put something in, I don't know, a sticker or something that people know, because I wouldn't have known that that little paper was in there.
Oh, it was wound up too tight and
Yeah,
got
so
stuck
just
in the
food for
box.
thought, so people, because it's
Yeah.
great and you tell the story. But yeah, I know the story now,
Yeah.
but tell us the story. I think and that's my favorite one. That was the one, it's the clove that I love in there.
Yeah. Oh, it smells like Christmas, doesn't it? Um, so, yeah, the story of thieves is that apparently there were four brothers who were grave robbers during the Black Plague. And people were annoyed with them, the townspeople, because, why are you digging up dead bodies and stealing their gold, their, any kind of jewelry that they might have had? And everyone was basically disgusted with them. But they thought, well, they'll get sick and die. They'll get theirs, and didn't worry too much about it. But they didn't get sick and they didn't die. And people were, questioning how they could have done that. But one story is that they were sailors, and that they, in their journeys, they sold and traded the cloves, the cinnamon, all of the spices. And then there's another story I heard from a different person that said that their parents were herbalists. Well, I think probably both could be true, but they were used to using those oils and the different types of fruits and stuff for their, like the lemons and the oranges and things like that for their healing. And they never did get sick. So the Thievin blend has all of the ingredients that I have read from different sources on what would be in there. And like I said, it smells like Christmas. So
No, it's a great one. I've used it from a different company or whatever years ago. But yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, and it's a great story, and it's true. The
yeah,
sailors,
it's a
oh,
yeah,
it's an alternative medicine, although that was pretty common, I'm sure, in their day to use more things, more natural things. Luckily,
sure.
they had no Tylenol or penicillin back then, which I actually think is great not to have those. But no, I think it's interesting too that you're also training your children, and not even any particular oil even is important, but the fact that they know there's an alternative and they are aware of the downside. You tell them the
Hmm.
story of Grandpa, and so again, too, I think you've trained them to question, you know,
Hmm.
practices and to realize there are natural things that work. So to me, that's one of the best things you're doing is giving the next generation a head start um, on actually being healthy. And
Yeah,
I totally agree with you with all those drugs. They talked about babies with Tylenol, and so people kind of got the idea not to give your babies Tylenol. But other than that, most people still uh, take way too many pharmaceuticals. I have people coming in, they're taking 28 and 17, and um,
it's it's crazy.
it, it
I
is.
feel, yeah, I wish I had been more educated about it sooner in my life, because I have three children that are mine. I have three stepdaughters. Um, of my three children that are mine, I shouldn't say that are mine, they're all six mine, but that I gave birth to. My daughter, she had all sorts of ear infections when she was little. And I constantly took her to the doctor, and he constantly gave her amoxicillin. And I mean, it was like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And she is 24 now and has so many health problems that just started with all of those antibiotics that I, gave her just for something that I could have probably chosen something plant-based that would have
They
helped her.
don't, they don't tell you that. I know, like for instance, Justin had some issues when he was young, which I won't tell you what I related them to. But anyway, the doctor at one point prescribed an antibiotic, and went to check him after I gave it to him. And his face looked red, like from your sleeping. He was a little guy, about 2 or 3. And then it just didn't look right. So I didn't give him that dose and called the doctor. And the doctor said he was severely allergic to penicillin. If I had given him the extra dose, he would have died.
Mm.
And so, and I grew up as an herbalist anyway. My mom was that way. So I can't believe I was even listening to doctors. But it's very scary for people to step away from medicine because now you are responsible for your own health. And
Oh
that's a
yeah.
very scary step for people. But once you do it and realize the benefits, and I'm also a big proponent, obviously, of a nice, healthy, organic, plant-based diet. But again, too, it's very hard for people. We're so used to just doing what we're told medically, and we're assuming these doctors have some special knowledge. And I think it's sad that we don't, like you're doing now, getting the word out. You don't have to do all this. These are natural plant things that are produced here in our country that will help you. So, yeah, we all go through our journeys at different times. And so I think
Right.
it's amazing what you're doing. Like I say, I can't tell you again how impressed I was seeing the package and then that beautiful wood base with the things in it. Like you say, it makes it so much easier for someone to use it than if you have them in your medicine cabinet or tossed in my purse or something like that. So I was very,
Right.
in the names, it made everything about it. It's really great.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I remember I came home from school during my plan time one time. My husband and I have since moved to Florida. We wanted to be around our parents, but I was at school and I came home during my plan time because everyone in the house had the flu except me. And and I'm making them soup and getting them all their rounds of, stuff to help. And I said, "Have you guys been putting on your daily wellness?" No.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have been. And after that they did. They started using that more often, because I just, like I said, it's not a miracle cure all, but it definitely doesn't work if you don't put it on. And I put it on and I haven't been sick for a decade. And I don't know, I physically will go put it on people in my household, but it can't work if you don't put it on.
Oh,
So
I laugh about that too. Like I am very much an herbalist and all these things I can have on, but if they're sitting in their cupboard, they aren't going to get into me by osmosis. I keep telling myself that.
exactly, you
Just
have
because
to,
all
you
these,
have to use it.
but yeah, so and kids learn often that kids do have some kind of a crisis where it actually worked, and it's
Hmm. Yeah.
but it takes a while, and we certainly don't get any encouragement, but from our media or school exposure or anything to anything other than pharmaceuticals. So yeah, so your children are blessed, all 6 of them, that
Yep.
have that's alert and finding a natural way to help them.
Yeah. It's
Awesome. And I would also say too, like I also liked the magnet thing that you sent as well. I thought that was an ingenious little marketing thing. I was like, ooh, then you put it on your refrigerator and you see them every single day. So I thought that
well,
was a great little idea
that
too.
also came about because it's just like you said, the little paper that is inside the boxes, it's in there. But I was thinking about it, and I've had those in there for a long time, but I was thinking, what, they're going to throw away the box. If at some point they're going to throw away the box and that little piece of paper, they're not going to leave them there. And I can't tell you how many people have said to me, okay, now what oil does what? Which one am
Right.
I supposed to use? And so by making this magnet, you can just look at it. And after use it for a while, you'll already know what works, but, and how to use it. Like Peppy Relief, my husband and I both have one of those on the side of our bed at night, because if you have something, too late in the evening, if you have spaghetti sauce, if you have something that's going to give you a little heartburn or indigestion, I just literally roll over, roll that right on my stomach, and put the cap back on, go right back to sleep. I mean, I can't believe how fast it helps.
Yeah, that's amazing. No, and the magnet is a great idea. I made a calendar magnets for customers years and years and years ago, and I had a really cute picture and things. I still see it on people's houses. And the calendar is obviously no longer useful, but yeah, if you have just information on it, it will be there forever.
Yeah.
So were you able to get did we send you some CBD? Did you get a chance to check out our products?
I have not received anything yet, but
Darn
things come
it.
slowly to Southwest Florida. I'm just going to say that because if
Yeah.
you're anywhere in the Midwest, they're on their way to somewhere else. But when you're in
Yeah.
Southwest Florida, there's nowhere south of us except Cuba.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you
Well,
are you
hopefully you'll get some.
Yeah,
are you
I'm
near
looking
South
forward to
Beach?
that. What's that?
Are you near South Beach or way south?
We are on the Gulf side in
Okay,
Naples.
Naples. Oh,
So,
beautiful
yeah,
place.
I think we're closer to Havana, Cuba than we are Tampa. So, we're far south. We're down in the Everglades.
Ex- Yeah, I met Justin and his wife there one time at a wonderful golf resort. I remember.
That's where I proposed at the Everglades, Club of the Everglades, on the 18th green on a 600-yard par five, and I made the birdie putt. Then went down
Oh,
on bended knee. But
oh,
anyways,
how
yes, I
fun.
have. Yeah, we stayed at the Ritz Carlton out there. I still have the robe,
It's a
but
beautiful place.
it certainly is, and they have that golf tournament there every year. But that's just. I mean, let's talk one more thing before we let you go. And before I forget, where can everyone find these wonderful products that we've been talking about?
Well, I have a website at essentialforwellness.com. And then today I made a special for your listeners, and they can find that at essentialforwellness.com/miracle plant. Sure.
Nice.
If you go to essentialforwellness.com/miracle plant, there is a special that includes all of the 5 oils and the holder and the magnet at a special price just for you guys.
Love it. When you'll have to log in to see what that special price is. We'll keep you in suspense. And the last thing that I wanted to cover was how's the marketing going for you? Because I know that's how we met in Russell Brunson's world, and that's how Russell and I met. Was because when COVID hit, we have physical stores out here in the West Coast,
Yeah.
but the world changed, and now over half of Americans shop online first, whereas before it was like 17%. But now 60, 70% of Americans, we don't go drive somewhere. We just go, whether it's Amazon or wherever it is, we go online first, whether it's Uber Eats or whether it's grocery delivery. And so I knew that shift was going to happen. COVID just hyperdrived it to where we are now. And so that's when I had to become a digital marketing online funnel expert like Russell. And how's that going for you? And I'd love to see if there's anything I can do to point you in the right direction for that as well.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, I just resigned from teaching. I decided 20 years of grading essays was enough. So I just resigned this past school year and decided to give essential oils my full-time attention. And here's what I discovered is on Facebook and such, as long as I am posting things that are, I don't know, funny memes or pictures of the bears going through my yard, it seems like I have a lot of traffic. And then as soon as I post things like essential oils, I don't get as many views. And so I tried some paid ads and have done that. So I'm still in my infancy on that, but I have a feeling that I need to go more through podcasts and I need to go through YouTube. Um, Instagram is going so, but they're, you know, Facebook and Instagram are same company, so or same owner.
Yep. Well, and they call that shadow banning. And trust me, as
Right.
a supplement, entrepreneur, I know all about it all too well.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so the things that we can do for sure is podcasting, like we're doing here. When
Uh-huh.
Clubhouse was hot, you could get on a stage like this with hundreds or if not thousands of people. I was on Twitter Spaces last night. Grant Cardone has some pretty good Twitter Spaces and conversations, really pushing the envelope, and
Yeah.
which I'm all about freedom of speech. Let's talk about it, and they actually
Yeah.
say that. Let's talk about it.
Let's get it
Anyways,
out there.
and,
Yeah.
and so we certainly can talk about hemp and cannabis and essential oils and natural healing. But another thing is SEO. I would highly recommend, especially local SEO. If there's a place people can find you and come to you directly, that's an
Mhm.
easy one to really build up to show up on the first page of Google. YouTube Organic is also great. There's some great courses. Gerald Eves, he wrote the book YouTube Formula, who's also in Russell's world. He's also the producer of The Chosen, if you've been watching that show, which
Oh
is
yeah.
all organic traffic, and that's all done by him. he also works with a YouTube superstar, Mr. Beast. So Daryl Eves is the guy to definitely understand how to go viral on YouTube. And basically, you're building in SEO ads, you're building in organic ads in YouTube with the right tags and the right headlines, and you're only going to get more views over time. Also, when you find something on YouTube that's organic or going viral or getting lots of views, then that's the one you pour gas on the fire, and you turn that one into an ad, a paid ad on YouTube. So those are some of the
Okay.
little tricks that I've seen. Podcasts are great. Open platforms like Twitter Spaces and even Clubhouse that we're on right now can be great. And then organic YouTube is certainly the way to go. And if you want to go, and there's also things called native ads. There's companies out there that will do, like Taboola is one, there's a bunch, that you basically are showing up on websites. They'll be a little bit more lenient than like Google or other companies that might not allow you to say anything about anything helping something. It's like craziness.
Isn't it crazy? I
It's
mean,
craziness.
when
Trust
you
me.
think about, I mean, essential oils aren't regulated by the FDA, and part of me is like, okay, that's actually fine by me. Once they start dipping their nose into that, I'm not sure. Uh, I'm not sure how that will work out, but because it's not regulated, essential oils, anybody, anybody, anywhere can put something in a bottle and call it pure. And I really just go with organic on all of my oils because I don't know. I think that's important. If you're going to be breathing stuff in, you're going to be putting it on your skin. You probably don't want pesticides on it or in it. So yeah, the FDA and all of our social media friends are kind of putting the slowdown on
And I just wonder why
plant-based
that
stuff.
is. I just wonder
I can't
why. Where would
think of
that pressure be coming from?
I can't think
What
of it.
trillion-dollar industry has the most to lose
Huh.
usually? But
I'm thinking.
and how did you
Yeah.
get the organic? That's amazing. I saw that the USDA. That's on there. That's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, it is. The companies that I go through, I only go through ones that are certified USDA organic or Oregon Tilth organic, and I make sure that they have the correct paperwork to back that up.
That's awesome. And
So
I know that's so
yeah,
important. And with us, we're inching closer. We have to do 3 years on one field with one seed to be certified USDA. So we're coming up
wow.
on that this year. So we're excited. I mean, we've always been organic, of course, and pesticides and heavy metals are a root evil, especially what
Hmm.
happened to my son. But billions of people around the world
Oh
have
yeah.
to deal with that. So, well, any final comments or anything you want to leave our audience with? I'm so happy that we got a chance to quote unquote meet.
Yeah.
And we have that special offer to go, and I'll make sure you make a call to action one more time on that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. No, I just appreciate you having me on here, and I love talking to your listeners and letting them know that plants are technically traditional medicine. They've been around, for thousands of years. Pharmaceuticals have only been around since the 1930s. So um, I always encourage everybody, as much as you can, just stay out of the doctor's office if you possibly
An
can.
apple a day
You
keeps the
know,
doctor away.
exactly. I mean, if you're in a car accident or have a heart attack, obviously those, you don't have as many choices. But if there are little things, that you could fix, I would go to on the plant-based direction.
On the end of every Miracle Plant podcast, we say heal the world. But before we do that, let's tell them one more
Mhm.
time where to go take advantage of this special offer.
Okay, yeah, it is at www.essentialforwellness.com/miracle plant.
Love it. Well, like I said, at the end of every podcast, we say heal the world. That is the mission, to reach 1 billion people by 2025 about the power of this miracle plant and helping people take control of their health by using plants over pills. Food is our medicine. Everything we put into our body will either help us or hurt us. So be mindful of the things and the choices that we make. So in the count of three, we're going to say heal the world, to send out that energy, that positive vibration. Someone can feel it. Someone can find us. Someone can forward this podcast, rate this podcast, review this podcast, and get someone out there who's in a situation where they're at wit's end. They've tried the conventional medical Western medicine and they're not getting the results they want for themselves or a loved one. And now it's time to try, like you said, traditional medicine, the one that's been around for 8,000 years, and counting versus the one that's
Exactly.
only been around for 100 or so. So on the count of 3, let's say heal the world. 1, 2, 3.
Heal
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 the
the world! All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody, on the Miracle Plant Podcast. Thank you, Sherri, and my mom, Janet. And we will see you next week on the Miracle Plant Podcast. Be a blessing, everybody, and happy healing!
Thanks for listening to today's show. To check out more great cannabis podcasts, go to PodConx.com. Here's a preview of one of our other shows.
Hi, I'm Gary, and I invite you to discover the Cannabis Podcast, a bi-weekly podcast focused on a Canadian's cannabis culture. I would be the Canadian, and my cannabis passion and culture has been building for 5 decades. I share that passion for this wonderful plant in every episode, through conversations with cannabis advocates and enthusiasts, stories about the ever-changing legal environment, and some hands-on testing of product in a segment I call Cultivar Corner. The Cannabis Podcast, a Canadian's cannabis culture, one toke at a time.